Sorry, this is part 2. Alexa, stop. So he says, I see dead people. Kendrick Lamar nailed his ass to the cross like Tizo. Tizo in Arabic means ass. I nailed their asses to the cross. Okay? And he's sitting there saying, I see dead people. Meaning he's sentencing the terrorists talking in my head to fucking death if they don't fucking come forward. They're going to investigate them with the same telepathy technology that they're using on me. In where I mean, it's everywhere. I don't have time to sit there all day. I have to act like I have to live, but I can't. It's like I don't know how to give it. I would give this my all, but my daughter calls me and she's like, Mom, I need help with homework. Mom, I need money. Mom, I need this. Mom, I need that. So I can't divide myself in like to give this as much attention as it clearly needs. But the terrorists talking in my head are the Karens that they're talking about. They're American Karens. And they live in California. And I want them sentenced to death. And I'm not playing in the women. My God, I'm telling you. The women are the ones I want sentenced to death because they're the ones, the men are emphasizing how important they are. So these whorebags took money, stole money, spent money, watch people's kids die, and then turn around and cry to these pieces of shits like they're victims. And then, and instead of saying, please stop doing this, we're all going to get hurt. They're jealous of gorgeous women and they want to oppress them. That's why they made my hair fall out. That's why they're wearing hijabs. And honest to God, a lot of the Egyptian American Muslims, obviously not the terrorists, they're losing hair like I have. The bitches are telling them they're jealous because these men can see through their eyes. They can see in their bedrooms. The jinn that Muslims talk about their Satan, the jinn. Okay, they say don't undress in front of the mirror because the jinn is going to see you. That jinn represents the terrorist talking in my fucking head. And the women that are talking in my head next to these men get jealous when there's a gorgeous woman and she just so happens to be one of the women that, you know, they need to traffic, or because she's gorgeous and she gets a lot of attention, it's to their best interest to use her. Until they use her and they abuse her and they hurt her and they rip her to shreds and they do all kinds of stuff to her until she dies. And drag her through the mud with her family. I want these are Egyptian American Muslim women terrorists that are talking in my head. I want them sentenced to fucking death, and I don't care who knows it. The piece of shit's talking in my head keeps saying, we're gonna drop you, we're gonna give you a heart attack, we're gonna give your daughter a heart attack, we're gonna make your daughter slit her wrist, stupid bitch, we're gonna make you slit your wrist, we're gonna make your son he's gonna go stick his dick in buttholes. Do you know what that means? Do you know what that means? You know what shit does, right? That these bitches talking in my fucking head are fucking weird, dude. Now, I don't have a problem with homosexuality, but I do have a problem with murder, and I don't care what people think. As far as I'm concerned, if you're sticking your anything in someone's butt, okay, you're committing suicide. That is poison. It'll kill you. Now, I know people are like, oh, you're so ignorant, you can clean it, you can do this. Fine. I just personally, I mean, for me, it's not like that is, It isn't for discussion. I don't care what your sexual preference is. Just don't stick your dick in someone's butt. Period. Okay, it's dangerous. And the terrorist in my head is saying, he's saying, I'm going to do all this stuff. Like, this is insane. They're Egyptian American Muslim women terrorists. I want them sentenced to fucking death. And that is all I have to say. They live in California. They're not outside. These bitches sat in my head and said they murdered Mark and Jacob Iskander. You think those fucking whore bags are going to stand up? They said they murdered Amina and Sarah Saad. They said they murdered the stupidest. They're the stupidest whores, honest to God, because they said they murdered David Basili, okay, who was found dead. He was found on the outside of his apartment on the ground after he fell down a flight of stairs and had several contusions. They said they murdered CK, who was found in his car. I guess he fell asleep with the engine on and died. No one saw him. Nobody woke him up. No one was there. They said they murdered Bernadette, who was found dead 5 days later in her place of residence, in her bedroom, where no one heard her or saw her. They said they murdered my friend Shadi, who was laying in his bed when he was at his university in Michigan. And again, no one saw him. No one knew they thought he was sleeping for 5 days. Shadi too was like, it took like 4 days or 5 days when his mom was like, okay, now it's enough. Shadi hasn't called me in a while. And like, this is not like my son. They said they murdered who else? It was like a weird case. Because there are cases that they've said where they have somebody that they prosecuted, okay, but the terrorist talking in my head said how we trafficked that person and we actually are the murderers, okay, or we drugged that person. What they'll say is like, we drugged her, ha 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 ha, like they said about Rebecca Grossman, okay. But there are several cases where it's like no one saw it coming. There was no way that anybody, there were no witnesses, nothing. These people were just found dead 3, 4, 5 days later. All in my life. Okay? I know you're going to say this is crazy, but 10 days after I met Florence Joyner Jr.'s nephew, I think we were like 10 or 11. And I was leaving the clubhouse where I used to live, and my mom still lives. But our community center, which we call the clubhouse, I was walking down and I happened to run into her nephew who was hitting on me at 11. And anyways, as 10 days later, she ends up having, or within that year, she ends up having a heart attack and dying unexpectedly. And she wasn't even training. They said they gave my dad a heart attack. They said they damaged my sister's pancreas and gave her Graves' eye disease. What else is... So they're saying all this shit in my head, okay? Oh no, I'm sorry. I said a heart attack. I'm sorry. Well, I mean, yes and no. Right? Because they don't want me to say, because a lot of these murders, there are no autopsy reports. I think initially it was like, okay, she's not going to say anything. We'll just say whatever we want. But then they started to understand when I was like really starting to think about what I was hearing them say and why so much talking and why so much this and why so much that. What are they doing? What do they have to say? Like, what are they saying? What are they, and they started to kind of tailor it. But anyways, nonetheless, they're saying they're murdering people in my head. Fuck the bullshit. And they don't want me, and they want me embarrassed. They've said a ton of people. So, some of which, they'll say, oh, haha, maybe that person, whoever was saying it, was just trying to tease and taunt Renee till she killed herself, or whatever they're attempting to say about me, after they've murdered me. But they say they're murdering me. So my point was to all that, the reason why they keep saying they're murdering people in my head is because they want it to sound like it's coming from outside, and they want us to embarrass because these bitches are, and no, let me go back. And why I know they're not outside, excuse me, why I know they're not outside, I know I'm everywhere, and I do this all the time, but I don't care. The reason why they're not outside is because they keep saying they're murdering people. So why would someone who's going to go make claims that, hey, I hear, Renee's record, when we were investigating her, we thought it was the TV, but you know what? Over the course of time, it became clear that someone was stalking her. But in all technicality, it's not a murder, or it's not a like, what is it? Unless it's been committed or something. You can't report something unless a crime has actually been committed. That's what I was trying to say. Excuse me, he's playing with my stomach and like making me vomit and vomit and burp up air, and they always do that to me every time I make a video. So why would they sit anywhere in my surroundings? And I'm making it clear they're Egyptian American Muslim. They're Egyptian American Muslim terrorists. I promise to God, women, Egyptian American Muslim women, terrorists. So anyone who feels comfortable enough to be around me that is Egyptian American Muslim, okay, isn't a terrorist. That's a fucking promise. The bitches talking in my head, they don't want to be anywhere near me, and that is a fucking promise. I want them sentenced to death, and I'm not joking. They're talking in my head, and they want to say that the crimes committed were coming from outside. No, they're not. These bitches are talking in my head. I can drive in my car and I'll hear the same voices. I'll go stand in front of a camera, and for whatever reason, I guess that telepathy technology, what it wants to do the way it's programmed is what it seems like. It's as if, okay, once it's gathered enough information, it just goes to its next subject until it's mapped out everyone that was, named a suspect in the crime and everyone in their networks. And once it's done, it comes back and it reports, this is where people were at the time. And no, these people aren't, and these people may be suspects, and these people. So they don't want the AI, aspect of this telepathy technology to come back with a report saying, hey, there's nothing to report here. So, because it times out on its own. So they have to keep activating it by talking and sending signals to my head. And so what they want to do is they want to start this, they want to plant this seed or plant the seed and create this ripple effect. And while breaking you down, making you feel insecure, in hopes that you'll go blame other people, and then you'll go report someone, and then they'll run to the police department and they'll collect that police report. And they'll say, we need this for, our investigation or our lawsuit, or whatever they have to say, most likely a lawsuit. And they'll collect all that information and say, okay, our request needs to remain confidential because this is a private matter, this is a foreign matter, or whatever, however they address it. And then they use that, they take it to whatever embassy they take it to, and they say, hey, here are all the crimes that were committed, and we want to use it, we want to investigate using these telepathy weapons because and then that government agency discusses it with the United States, and then it gives them these permissions, and they get these credentials to log into the computer and get the software and to sit there and do what they're doing in my head. And this is an ongoing thing. They're terrorist talking in my head. Now I'm done. I'm recording I go sit in front of, and I forgot to say, I want to go back. I will go sit in front of security cameras and I will let them talk any way they want to talk. I don't care if they sound sweet, if they sound miserable. I don't care. They have these assigned voices. They can't sound like anybody outside because none of their little terrorist friends want to be convicted for the crimes they're committing. If they were to get convicted, they want to make sure they remain separate. So the voices they're using are they're nobodies. They're these original assigned voice prints that they use. These and they have like 5 or not 5, but they have about 10, I want to say, that I've heard consistently. Maybe a couple more. And so I will sit in front of the camera at Albertsons, for example, and I will just let them talk. I'll sit there for a half an hour, and they have no choice. They have to talk in order to activate this telepathy technology thing. And then, and I'll sit there and I'll laugh and I'll say, hi, it's not caught on the camera. You can't sit here and pretend, you stupid bitches, that you're outside. Because if that's the case and you want to use any part of this record, sweetheart, you have to explain why in the hell I didn't hear those voices, especially now that I'm saying I'm schizophrenic. So now they're going to be combing through every time I'm in front of a security camera. Like, what? It didn't get caught on that security camera, sweetheart. And I keep making it obvious because they want to run and use the records because they know that you guys aren't the targeted individual community is innocent. They know all these things. The terrorists talking in their head, they know. They want people scared to say that they hear them in their head and that they don't know who it is. They want to they want them calling the cops and not seeking medical attention. And they want these records public. I thought it was, I don't know. I was, as I was going through this, it was like trial and error as to how to protect myself and make sure that these terrorists don't run this stupid game on me anymore. So initially I was like, oh, call the cops. But now it's like, no, if you're going to call the cops, be honest. Say, hey, I'm hearing voices in my head and they sound like terrorists. They'll most likely call the crisis assessment team, but that's a good thing because the minute it's called medico legal, okay? Medical and legal, okay? Then these terrorists, your records are held confidential and these terrorists can't run to the police department to request the records and send it to their embassies to use these technologies or whatever entity they use to request the permissions to use these technologies. So I am making it very clear, please, 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 for the love of God, please go seek medical attention. Tell people what you hear in your head. Who cares if they say, take these medications, they can help you. Just take them. All you got to do is go over to the pharmacy, pick them up, try them once or twice. If they legitimately don't work, which they won't because we all know what's really going on, flush them down the toilet. That's it. The terrorists can see through your eyes. So don't be stupid, okay? There are records involved with these technologies, sweethearts. And if in fact you try to sell it or do something stupid, they will find out. It'll be obvious. It'll be on your record. The terrorist talking in your head saw it. So don't be dumb. Just flush that shit down the toilet. Okay? Just make it clear you hear terrorists in your head, and go look for a psychiatrist to pour out your heart to, and a psychiatrist, because now there's money involved. The United States government is paying for your meds, okay? And they're paying, and now records are accumulating. Now you can go file and get Social Security. Now you can go get welfare. Now you can go get food stamps. Now you're opening up doors for yourself, and now you're changing your reputation in front of your family and your friends. Just don't argue with people. That is like the stupidest thing to do. That's exactly what the terrorists in your head want you to do. Anyways, I've wasted, it's not even a waste. I genuinely feel for the targeted individual community. I know exactly, obviously from experience, how you feel, what you're going through, everything. I've been through it. We're going through this clearly together. I want you to know that I'm not perfect. I make mistakes. Like I said, initially I thought it was a good idea to call the cops, not unless you're going to tell them that you hear the voices in your head. Don't report people because you really don't know who it is. Although I keep saying they're Egyptian American terrorists, and it's because I know they are. I don't go and I don't report that. I don't report that to the police department. I just say I hear terrorists talking in my head. So in fact that it'll be logged in for their records, and then it's sent to medical, and then there's the medical records, and of course those are held confidential. So the terrorists have no way at all of getting your records. I said sue happy. Did I say sue happy because they want to sue everyone? So they'll go run. Did I say that? Because I didn't. I don't know. I could be wrong. I can't remember what I said. Yes, they are sue happy, but I think I misspoke when I said it before. But anyways, it is. Just know they're looking for public records. Please stop accusing people that aren't. They're not the ones talking in your head. I promise to God. If the terrorists talking in your head are saying, "Hey, you stupid bitch, I'm gonna murder you," in your fucking head, okay? The people in your surroundings are not the terrorists. Do you hear me? All right, I gotta go. Have a great day.